Feliz 5 de Mayo and Mexican fans. I prove myself today. I'm the best. I'm the best in my version. And Eddie here. And sorry, I broke your plans with Gennady Golovkin maybe. And
now you got the 4 straight rounds, Kenneth. You got the 4 straight rounds given to Canelo, the guy who you want to win. Now, why did you give 4 straight? Well, here's one possible reason. In boxing, if there's a unintentional headbutt or whatever, elbow, whatever the hell it is, that forces one fighter not to continue, and it happens in the first 4 rounds. The magic number. It happens in the first 4 rounds, Kenneth. The rule is you go to the scorecards to see who's ahead. So they covered that base. Then just say again, crazy. Teddy crazy. Okay. And now,
I got to be honest, I hadn't even thought about this angle ever before, but this is good. This is really good.
I got your attention, Kenneth.
Now, you got me. Yeah.
Shout out to Deuce Ranger Rollins. Follow him on Twitter. The tweet says, if anybody thinks Dmitry Bivol is taking it too far by rubbing it in that he messed up the Canelo and rematch room plans, I've been told by several sources that there was a rehearsed announcement for a Canelo Golovkin Part 3 fight that was supposed to take place live in the ring after Canelo Bivol. And finally it says, mad disrespect. So that clip you seen at the beginning where you heard Dmitry Bivol, he's like, Eddie, I block your plans. That's why he had that little bit of chagrin and that snarky comment, because he knows since the judges got it right and couldn't rob him because he dominated Canelo, that the Triple G fight was ex-nade, and there's no way to really, make that make sense. I mean, I guess you could still fight Triple G next, but it would look bad coming off of a loss, and it'll look like you're ducking Bivol. Now, some will say, oh, how do you know this is just, sources, and people can't name their sources, it's a conspiracy theory, yada, yada, yada. But let's take a look at some of the clues. So before the Bivol fight, this article came out. What does it say? It says Las Vegas Review Journal. So they're a media imprint out of Las Vegas where the Bivol fight took place. And it says Las Vegas is the front runner for a third Canelo Alvarez Triple G fight. And that's what the article is saying. And this is before the Bivol fight. It says the third fight between pound for pound Canelo and middleweight legend Golovkin appears headed to Vegas. So why would they be saying, where are they getting this information that they published this before Canelo lost to Bivol, and saying, how do they have a location saying it's headed to Vegas and the tentative date is September 17th, but nothing has been finalized? So it sounds like the fight was actually done behind closed doors, and Bivol probably knew about this, and he knows in defeating Canelo in the fashion that he did, he had a major monkey wrench in the plans. It says Canelo Alvarez does not feel overly comfortable talking about the fight because he feels it's disrespectful to Dmitry Bivol. Eddie Hearn says, I think you'll hear from him if Alvarez wins on Saturday. So that's almost like a teaser. So this looks like it makes a whole lot of sense. Bivol reacted and said what he said, I block your plans, Eddie, right? Then you have Deuce, who's being sourced out, and people are telling them that they had a rehearsal. And then previously, before the fight, he's saying Canelo don't want to disrespect Bivol by saying too much, but I think you'll hear again if Canelo wins. So they wanted him to win. They didn't want Dmitry Bivol to win. Says Golovkin will be very aggressive. He's not going to try to fiddle around, said Hearn, yada, yada, yada. Right? I promise you the fight won't go the distance. Canelo will want to hurt him. Right? So they're already making plans. Hearn, I promise you a third Canelo Golovkin fight won't go the distance. Canelo wants to hurt him. So it looks like, all intents and purposes, this fight, it does look like it was done, you know? And why? Because why are you giving fight predictions saying that Canelo wants to hurt Golovkin if there's no fight done? And these were the rumors that we always heard, that Canelo Golovkin would be the second fight after Bivol. He said, I think it's a different fight this time, said Hearn, who also pointed out Alvarez has a difficult fight on Saturday. I don't think it goes 8 or 9 rounds. I think both guys, I think Triple G will say this is probably my last fight if I lose, and I'm going to go out there. And by the way, I think it'll be much better at 68 than 60. How long has he been at 60? Yada, yada, yada. So he's giving you whole fight breakdowns of a Triple G fight, and Canelo hadn't got past Bivol. The other thing you have to look at, one must look at, is the fact that when Canelo Alvarez fought Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., this is exactly what they did. Boom. Canelo Alvarez to meet Gennady Golovkin after embarrassing Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. So if you remember, this was a bogus fight where two guys out of Mexico with names fought each other, Chavez Jr. and Canelo. And immediately after this fight, which to me was pretty boring, they had Triple G come and get in the ring with his brother and get interviewed right in front of Canelo. And they announced that, hey, this is the next order of business for September. And they had both the guys. Here's pictures from it. So this is not the first time in boxing stuff like this has happened. You'll remember Shane Mosley jumped in the ring on Floyd Mayweather, but this was orchestrated. Canelo, he had won, and then they immediately did these pictures and announced the Triple G fight. So Canelo knew he was fighting Triple G if he got past Chavez Jr. Another time, since I've been in boxing so long, that comes to mind where they did this, where they had a secret arrangement, and unbeknownst, they kept it pretty good under wraps, unbeknownst, outside of rumors, you know, that the fight would get announced after another fight, was in the fight with Joshua. Joshua beat Eric Molina and he knocked him out, and this picture was what ensued next. You had Vladimir Klitschko, Dr. Steelhammer, and he got in the ring, and this is an Eddie Hearn show. So Eddie Hearn himself in Rematch Room have done this before. And I just gave you an example of how Chavez Jr. got embarrassed by Canelo, and then they announced the Triple G fight. But in this time in England, after I think they were at the O2 Arena, after the O2 Arena performance with Molina, Joshua, you see, that's why Joshua's sweaty and Klitschko isn't, because Klitschko didn't just fight. Joshua's sweaty because he had just been in the ring and knocked out Eric Molina, and then they bring Klitschko out, and people didn't know that Klitschko was there. And I seen some people in the comment section was like, oh, where's Triple G? I didn't see him at the thing. But at the same time, did anybody know that Vladimir Klitschko was there and was going to hop in the ring after Joshua massacred Eric Molina, as you see in the picture, and then they were going to announce that? No, but that's how it happened. Did anybody know that Triple G was at the Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. fight? You know, I mean, it's just common sense, people. Like, this is, as long as you don't tell the wrong people and your secret doesn't get out, this has happened. You can have these secret arrangements behind the scenes as long as you don't have a mole that leaks the information out prematurely. But no one knew Klitschko was there. No one knew Chavez Jr. after he got beat that they were going to announce the fight with Canelo Alvarez and Triple G. But these are things that happen. So I believe that. And it also makes sense and adds up because you look at Canelo and what Bivol said after the fight. He said, I ruined your plans. Sorry. I blocked your plans. So he probably was hip to it, and he knew that they weren't banking on him to win. So this looks extremely bad for Canelo Alvarez because they try to really rob the boy Dmitry Bivol, and he won so convincingly that Canelo, he was so subpar with this style and everything that Yoel Diaz and Bivol presented, it became no way without probably raising more eyebrows than is already the case. There was no way for Canelo for you to save face and give him that win. And based on the judges' scorecards, they still try to turn in embarrassing scorecards. So I have no doubt in my mind that had the fight been a hair closer, and if Canelo had did a little bit better, they were going to try to rob Dmitry Bivol. So this is a massive, massive risk and a massive L for Rematch Room, DAZN, Canelo, Eddie Reynoso, etc. And this is a huge upset victory and a shockingly great performance by Dmitry Bivol, who really and truly played spoiler. Look at these pictures. If he had not dominated like Floyd Mayweather, they were going to try to rob him. This is also the case with Floyd when he fought Canelo Alvarez. One judge, CJ Ross, said it was a draw, and some people had Canelo losing every round and had a 12-round victory for Floyd Mayweather. So it's looking very fishy with Eddie Hearn, DAZN, and Canelo Alvarez. They're doing these secret, from what it sounds like, they're doing these secret arrangements, and by any means necessary will judges turn in these crazy Canelo scorecards. The future is now. The Hibernation 5s by Kenichi Bear. Hybrid gaming and lifestyle headphones. Out of the box, you can connect to any console or PC. Bluetooth ready with a low latency USB adapter, color RGB, and extreme bass mode. The Hibernation 5s adjust to you. Whether you need a gaming, travel, gym, or lifestyle headphones, the Hibernations got you covered. The new Hibernation 5s, link in the description. Customize the way you hear the world. Welcome to the nation. Are you tired of your YouTube videos not getting any views? Well, consider TubeBuddy. I've used TubeBuddy for years to scale up my YouTube channel. Now we're sitting over 200,000 subscribers. TubeBuddy is a browser extension that offers a ton of built-in productivity and time-saving services to take your channel to the next level. Use my link in the description to get started with TubeBuddy and level up your channel faster. We work it.